Let's see if we get that one now, if we're getting a little closer. If it's gonna start or what. Hopefully we get this thing moving. Looks like it, it looks like it, it looks like it. That, we are going live here now. See if we get that one now, if we're getting a little closer. Sounds good. Turning off my exit speaker. I think we're finally live. I had to redo some stuff and it really messed up some of what we were working on there. Of course, I try to do things more professionally, and the more I do that, the more things mess up and it doesn't work at all. I might have to just go back to doing regular stuff. Today we're working on, let's see here, if we can get that flipped over there. We're working on this guy again. It's a Lincoln Town car, of course, drawing. Right here we're gonna continue on our path. I've worked on getting some colors and stuff for the side there. And it's a pearl white, which is really, really difficult to capture because it's not quite white, it's not beige, it's like all kinds of colors mixed together. So that makes for a pretty interesting kind of deal there. Let's see here. I'm going to shut my voice down. Here we go. And like I said, I'm having all kinds of problems here, guys, but I do have messages open. So if you're listening, if you're type in a hello or yes or I can't hear you or it all's terrible, and just let me know where we're at so I can continue on, because I don't want to get started until I'm sure that there's some people watching that might have an interest in there. So if I open the chat, let's see, I'm going to type it there. I'm going to try to have my phone set up on the side here to see if it works. So I'm trying to be able to be more engaged as we do this stuff. You know, it's these things are difficult. You know, I do a lot of these videos and things at work, but I've got a whole team of people that I work with to do that. And to do it all by myself right here. And Kathy's here. All right, well, this is Kathleen Madden. That's my sister who I'm doing this for, which is great. So as long as that's happening, then I know people are able to watch. So I'm glad that you guys are here. There's a couple people watching, and I appreciate that. So we're going to get going on this. What I want to show you is how I first start out the color. So actually, I'm going to go to a whole different screen here and show you what I'm doing. All right, so if we go to this, if you see the picture, you know, this is what I'm working on. So what I do is I develop, it's going to be a little bit hard to see these, but yeah, the colors are looking all crazy. To get this pearl white, I've got the image of the car, and I do just a whole bunch of little color studies to get to where I want to be. And I found these 3 pencils here are the ones that are going to be the good starts. So it is these colors right here. So first what I want to do is I want to draw, as you see on the car there's a reflection, and I've got it on the screen over there next to me. It's over there. And I've got it blown up really large so I can see it and get an idea of where the reflections are, and it's going to reflect. So the car comes around. I'm going to switch back to the full drawing here. Let's see if we can't zoom in a little bit. And there we go. The car has a shape. It comes around here and then kind of goes back in a little bit and then comes back out. So it's going to reflect, you know, to about right here it reflects the sky. From about here down it's going to reflect the ground with a little bit of reflection of the sky right in this area. But it's subtle. So what I'm going to start out with actually is kind of just a white fine line pencil to start where the horizon line is going to be, and that'll go across the car, kind of like you know, you want to find, obviously if this is curving, it's always about reflections of light. So this is curving down, that's going to stop reflecting right about there. So I'm going to come down a little bit here, and we're going to put the horizon line. I'm looking at the drawing there. about right here. Now you probably won't be able to see this very well in the drawing, but that's going to come up and then come back, and then on the front of the car it kind of comes up like this, and this is how you get that shine. So that's my line right there. So I'm going to start here going dark down and light up. So what I'll probably do is throw some white in there to get started, and let's see if we can get a little bit of, I get a little background music here. I'm going to go crazy. Oh, that's laughing. There we go. That's going to be a good one. Talking about these cars, as I mentioned, I'm going to sharpen this pencil as I talk. Loud, loud. These cars are based on this is the Panther platform. So 2011 they made the last ones. I think they made a couple in 2012 too, but this is for all intents and purposes the last ones. And it was a style of car, so it was the Crown Vics from Ford, Mercury Grand Marquis, which I have, and then the Lincoln Town Cars. And this one is a 2007 Town Car that my dad bought in 2013 or 14, somewhere in there. And he replaced the 97 Town Car, which I have. And in 2022, my dad wasn't doing so well, and he ended up not needing this anymore, let's just say. God rest his soul, but he gave it to my sister Kathy. So she's got this car, I've got mine. We did a fun photo shoot out with it, with both of them one time out in Arizona. I drove it from Wisconsin to Arizona, my Town Car, and it's a lot of fun. So this was this drawing here is something a little bit more special than just the average drawing. And so as we're going through it here, right here is where these cars, the new cars are so bulbous. Right here it gets a little bit brighter because this is where the corner of the bumper is. So I want it to be kind of brighter there than anywhere else. So I'm going to blend that off like that, get some white in there. We're going to add color in later. And I kind of go light to dark and dark to light. I changed if you look at the drawing here, if I come back around, if we do this, you can see where on the side of that there, it's, let's see, I've got my screens all messed up here. Sorry guys. But as you can see in this area down here where the shadow is, I changed where the shadow is because I changed the direction of the sun because I wanted it to be more like the mountains. And the mountains in the background, I took the picture of the car from the other direction, so flipped it all around, and that's kind of just, it's my artistic license. I just had it renewed, so no one can say anything about it. Here we go. So I'm going to go through here. So if the sun's coming in from this, obviously the shadows on this side coming that way. The sun's coming this way, so the highlights be here. Part of what I'm doing is I'm just going to delineate the edges where the light would really shine in there. You get that in like the hood of the car. This is actually going to be dark. It's going to be kind of opposite of the picture. So what we're going to do is we're going to put some light right up in there. The lighter color cars are really tricky. I mean, I battled with this for a long time. But how to do these. I'm going to get a little bit of a sunshine there. Now you're also going to have the reflection of the whole sky coming down into the car on this point. So we're going to add some white in there. And I'm just putting white in because we can color that whatever we want, but I want that a lighter color. Same with right here. That's going to blend down. Like I said, it's kind of a tricky deal. I'm going to have a little more white right in here like we just discussed. But you can see even with just throwing these in here, this little bit of color, you start to get the shape of the car. It starts to come around. And the reason why I don't finish the backgrounds right away is because I want the car to stand out. So the background colors are very muted in comparison to, you know, if you look at the actual, how bright and vibrant all the colors are. I want the car to stand out in the drawing. So the car is going to have the most amount of colors in it, which is why I do it like that. I like to give it a little bit of a light all the way around the car. It just helps it to pop. And keep your brush around because little bits of pencil get everywhere. So anyway, getting back to the Panther platform, it started in 1979 with the Crown Vic, Mercury Grand Marquis and Lincoln Town Car, as I mentioned. Back then they all had 302s in them. I think you could get the police ones with a 351 Windsor in it, but for the most part they were 302s. So there's also a body line that comes down across here and lands just right about here. It comes and it just disappears. So we're going to draw that in kind of as a hard line. There's a pinstripe right above it, which I'll have to put in. That's like the last thing I'll do. Because first we want to get this lines looking right. And then you'll see a white right underneath here. You have a shadow underneath the windows, but you also have this lightness. So this front edge of here is going to be like that. This is chrome, these pieces here, so those will actually reflect the sky. As will the mirror. Mirror's body, I shouldn't say it's chrome, it's body color. So anyway, these cars were used as cop cars, police cars, professional cars, obviously town cars, mafia cars. You know, the trunk that you can fit, you know, everyone asks you if you have one of these cars, you know, how many bodies do you fit in the trunk? And the answer is it depends on how you fold them. That's what I usually say. In mine, I do actually have a body bag in there because when I go to car shows with it, people get a kick out of that. They're like, how many bodies? I'm like, well, let me pop the trunk and take a look. And I open it up and there's a body bag in there all wrapped up and a shovel. And, you know, a little morbid humor, but that's all right. That's half the fun of having one of these things. But what I find, this was, so when I titled this, you know, is this the Cadillac of Lincolns? And it actually is, because Lincoln and Cadillac were fighting neck and neck for decades over the full-size luxury line. And I'm going to say Lincoln won. Now, I've had both. At the same time, when I first got my town car from my dad in 2015, 10 years ago already, wow. I had a black Lincoln, and I also had a white 1996 Cadillac Fleetwood Brougham, which was Cadillac's version of this. It was their full-size rear-wheel drive car. And it was really interesting because that was the last of the line. That was the last Cadillac used. And that being the last one Cadillac made, that was the big full-size rear-wheel drive car, I could compare the two. And it was amazing because the Lincoln had just kind of in 1991, 1990, they changed to this to the newer body style, not this one. This body style came out in 90. This exact one came out in 2004, but in 98 is when they went to this more bubbly style, which is cool. And I've had these too, but I like the square style a little more. I just find it a little more traditional. But it really was the last traditional car that they made. It was, I'm going to have to sharpen again, hold on. So what we'll do here is, it was the last traditional full-size rear-wheel drive car that Cadillac made. It was the Fleetwood Brougham in '97, and since then they really haven't come out with anything that's equivalent, which is a shame because it was a great car. So I'm going to come in here. This is my cream color, it's called. what I do here is I'm just going to lay in some color, and we're going to blend it in with the gas. If you watch me before, you've seen my process of blending with gas. These are also, so there's going to be some color up in here. Now I haven't color adjusted for the pictures on the, what do you call it, the colors might look a little bit strange because I said I haven't done a color correction or anything like that in any of this video. I'm just putting it up because we're live. And frankly, I had enough problems getting this thing going today. So we're going to throw some of that color in there. In the eye here, we're going to blend this in. It looks pretty yellow, but it's not going to be yellow when it's done because we're going to add a bunch of other colors to it. But for the most part, this starts to give you the feel of the color of the car. So I'm going to blend in other colors later. I want this underneath of it. As a base, and then everything I put on top of it will kind of flow through it and still look right. These little pieces here are chrome, of course. There's one in the front, there's not one in the back on this car. I still don't understand that, but that's the way it was. So that's going on. So what's everyone doing today for this beautiful Saturday? I'm here in Wisconsin, and it was 76 and sunny and gorgeous on Friday, and then yesterday it was windy as hell and 35 and rainy, snowy. We didn't get any real accumulation, thank goodness, but it did snow. Now we're going to blend this white up a little bit further. So that's going to go up, and then it's going to get dark again here. So I need my 1093, which is this guy here. And this is going to give us some of the darks. So right next to your, let's see if I can zoom in. All right, if I zoom in here, you can see right in here I'm getting darker. This is along the horizon line, and that's just kind of the trick. So I'm going to get dark along there. This is chrome, these two little lines here, this is chrome trim. But we're going to get that dark blend going all the way up to about there. I'm going to put a little bit of that darkness up in here too, as we're going to blend that in. But I want the top of this to look a little bit lighter. And right at the edge of the horizon line too, I'm going to put pretty thick white because we're going to have some reflections of the sky colors get in there too, and that has to be added in later. So this comes up like that. There we go. Now, the magic of flammable liquids. Rossignol, toilet paper. Everyone's like, why do you have toilet paper on your desk? Well, this is why. If you've watched any of my videos before, you see me do this 100 times. This is my double secret probation trick. Don't tell anybody. Art should be flammable. That's kind of what I'm thinking. Again, I'm going to brush off the extra chunks of soot, and we'll go in there, just put a little bit on there. You don't need much. I'm just going to go in here and blend that in. Now, I'm not looking for a perfect blend at this point. I'm just trying to get some of these pencil lines to fall into the tooth of the board. I do these on illustration board, so it's not actually like on a piece of paper. It's matte board, like you see when you if you matte a painting. I get acid-free mat board and use that to start with. I like the texture of it because it just gives it a little artistic flair, I think. And I've been using the same board for, geez, I started doing this probably in 1989, I think was the first way I started doing these, so I've been doing it like this quite a while. But that was almost 40 years ago now. When did we get old? I don't know. There we go. So now that's starting to look, I'll zoom back out. You can start to see, if I go to the other picture where you start to see the feel of it, how it has a real yellowish glow to it, but it's not quite yellow. So we're gonna keep working on that color in there, and we're gonna bring some of this tan down here of my 1093. I like the coloration of this. It's working very well. Very well indeed. We'll get back to here. It'll be bright on the bottom there. Back here it's going to be a little darker. This area here, and then along the ground, of course, will be dark again. Dark again. We can blend this in like this. I'm also, in the back here, we're going to darken just some of this area in here, as it would darken bright but dark, if that makes sense. It doesn't make sense, I know it doesn't, but I'm going to lighten all this up. I'm taking this white and I'm blending this white up with all the rest of these. Whoops, right here it's going to come a dark line around that headlight. This is going to be darker in here, it's in shadow. As is right here would be in shadow. Right underneath there, right underneath there, underneath there. Kind of surround that headlight. And then as we come up here, a little shadow behind that license plate. Under there. Okay. Let me get this right up in here. So, back to the information about the certain automobiles. The Panther platform through the 80s was square-bodied, and well, you saw these. They competed kind of with the Caprice Classics and the Pontiac Bonnevilles and all those cars that were a staple of American cars for really the better part of 40 years. From the 50s to the late 90s. Really, there was all kinds of competition. But after '96, this was it. You wanted a big car. There was only one. And even this is downsized compared to the 78s and 79s. They were another almost a foot longer than this. But it was really something there's something to behold. Behemoths. But over the years, they just kept changing. They had the 302 engine for a long time, which was a great engine. It worked really well, especially when they fuel injected it. It would get reasonable gas mileage and decent power. But then at the dawn of the 90s, they came out with 91 or 2, I believe, the 4.6 modular V8 engine. It was a big deal at Ford. Hold on. Which is what this car has. Also, my 97 has that. And I also have a 1994 Mercury Grand Marquis, which is also in the same family. and that has the 4.6 as well. But there's 3 different versions of it, and between us, my sister and I, we have all of the versions. The first one was the one that's in my 94. It had an aluminum intake. It was a little bit different. Made, I think, 190 horsepower, which is not very good, but it's not terrible. You know, it'll get out of its own way, just not in a huge hurry. But they changed a few things in 95, and like they have more power, and then you could get an option that mine has, and my dad had the option. He wanted the livery package, they called it, which gave you dual exhaust, bigger cooling. You know, of course, they all had disc brakes all the way around, a 327 geared rear end posi, which is a little more hefty, so they could use it for limos. So you'd buy the livery package in the Executive Series, which was kind of the base model. And the livery package, basically it was like the police pursuit package for the police cars, but in a, for the Lincoln. So they still had airbags in the back, so they had the nice ride and all that kind of good stuff. But yeah, they did, it was a really good package actually. Really, so like my black car, the 97, has 220 horse. But then when they moved to this style, it went up even more. And like this car here, I had one similar to this. I had no one, Cartier, which was the top of the line, and that one had all of the new motor and all the better stuff and the higher output. And like this one, it made 239 horsepower, which is not. It still didn't sound like a lot, but they were torquey engines, so you could really, they'd get off. They were terrible at pulling trailers, so you know, people asked me, and my sister actually asked me at one point, you know, we can pull a trailer with this, and they're just not, they just don't have the power to pull trailers, and the transmissions aren't set for them. And you know, you can pull a little, teeny little trailer or something without killing it, but if you like the car, you want to keep it, I wouldn't be pulling trailers. Oh, there it goes. So I'm going to do this. That's starting to come along nicely right there. Look at that. Ooh, we'll slide it into view a little better. You can start to see the shine of the car. Oh yes, I dig it. Now we're going to want to get some sky tones into that, where the sky is going to reflect. So the sky, you're going to see reflections. It's going to be blue. Kind of along that back edge. And it'll blend into the color of the car. That's kind of what it does. So we're going to do that. Same thing over here. So there we've got more in the back here, but just a little bit of just a touch of a blue haze in there is what we're going to put in. You don't want to put in too much. It just gives it that reflection of the sun in there. And you'll see more of it in the chrome, like let me show you how we do that. You know, this whole grill is going to be not going to look anything like in the picture. I'm going to do it differently, but I can show you kind of how you do it. These little lines here that I put in there is where the reflection is, and those are staying. So I'll go in there with a dark color, like, well, I'll even do it right now. So we'll go in with a, let's see, 70, yep, 70% gray, and watch how this just turns to chrome as soon as I put a few of these dark reflections in. Just like that across the board. Suddenly now you can see how that starts to pop. Now up here, there'll be some shadows of each one of those little grill pieces. Will cast a shadow down on it, which I like to put that in before I put the lights in there. Just a little bit of, and go across the top to connect them. See, now that has a nice flow to it. You can start to see how the ground reflects across. And this is curved, so that's why it has a curve to it as well. And then what I will do is I'll go in the lighter gray, 50%, here we go. And I'm going to go just on the inside edge of each one of these to just throw a little bit of a shadow in there before I put the lines of the light in. This is fun. I love doing the chrome. My brother-in-law Greg always says he likes the way I do chrome, so this is all the secrets right here. You can start to see. I wonder if I can get a little bit closer here for you. Let's do that. If I zoom in, I only have so much room on my desk here, but there we go. You can see I have a little better look here as I'm going edge by edge, just to set it aside. Here we go, here we go, here we go. And away we go here. Nice. Good. Kathy says looking good. It's a little bit tricky because I've got my, as I've got this stuff going here. If I hit, I'll hit my Sony on again so you can see me. So I've got my drawing down here, that's what you're seeing there, and I've got what I'm looking at over here. I've got my phone set up right here so I can try and answer questions and see them as they come in. I've got my computer here. So I'm still new at all of this different stuff, so that's why I get a little confused. So thanks for bearing with me, everybody. I appreciate it. All right, back to the show. So we're gonna put some darker lines in here. Now, what I'll do to bring this out, we're gonna start with just some white. Let's take my white pencil, and on those front edge, the opposite edge that I just put the shadow on, we're just gonna put some white from the top down to the horizon line, this part. And you'll see this will turn chrome instantly in a minute. This is always what I love. It's magic. Chrome hacks, man. So that's just, you see, that's just white there. Sharpen my pencil. And yes, do I use it right down to the nubbins? You bet your ass. I use these right down to nothing. You know, Joann Fabrics is I'm sure you guys know what Joann Fabrics is. They're going out of business, closing all their stores, and they're closing one locally, and they sell these pencils. And they want, you know, they're full retail, of course, which is a ripoff, you guys. If you're going to buy art supplies, don't buy them at those retail stores. They're a ripoff. That's why they can offer you 50% off, because even at 50% off, it's too much. But anyway, they want $2.39 each for these pencils. Now, I have about 300 of them, so you can do the math there. It would get rather expensive if that's what I was paying. And they're having a closeout sale, and the 20% off. I'm like, what a joke. So anyway, long story short, I sent my wife in, and she made an offer to buy out all the pencils that they had. I said, I'll give you 80 cents a piece for them. I'll take every single one of them and the display off your hands. You're going out of business. You need it gone anyway. And they're like, nah. So anyway, we'll go back. I'll keep doing it. So now I'm going to take some blue. And this is a similar blue as I used up on the top, you know, in this area up here. And it's similar blue because I want to tie those same colors together. And I'm just going to bring that blue down into that, between where the white and the little shadow I put in there. And this is just the start of it. You don't need a lot, because I'll go back with a lot of it. Dial in the blue, because we'll end up putting a real rich, deep blue in there too. But you can see how just that little bit of blue now, just that touch of blue, brought that chrome out and really makes it pop. This is a reflection of the ground, so we're going to do darker colors in there later. And when I get into the headlights and all that kind of stuff, that'll happen then too. You know, this is also chrome. Let me move my picture over the top here. So this is all chrome up here. And again, we'll bring some of that blue in there. That's going to come down here. Just like so. corner, we're gonna bring the blue down there. Magic. And like I said, we'll come in with a darker blue, something more like this one here. And that's going to add depth to the color, because chrome, as it goes around corners and does things, actually changes the color of the reflection. Water does it too, because you're taking color and you're refracting it with light a certain way that it condenses the color and makes it a lot darker. That's why you look at a lake is just across a lake or water is just a reflection of what's in the sky, because water is, of course, shiny and reflective. But what you have here, you see how that starts to come along? Just blend in that dark. So blend that back in there. Now if I zoom in, should be able to zoom in pretty good on that. So there you can start to see how that this gives it that very realistic look. Because as the sky is bending the color over the edge of this shape, that's what it does. It brings that depth into it. So I'll go in here and fix it up really beautifully like that. There we go. And I'm probably going to put a little bit of a, well actually no, I don't think I need it on this one. The angle of this wouldn't reflect the ground to where we parked it, so we're just going to go right to the edge there with that white. Blend it up a little bit. Be a little hotter on this side. We'll blend it out with the white a little bit, because that's where the sun's going to hit, but you'd still get a little darkness around this edge here. It's very, I mean, you can see how small it is. There's my finger. Oops, don't do that. I made a mark there, which is why we have erasers. Ooh, beautiful. Very nice, very nice. Fixed. Don't have to start over. And so that same blue that I'm using in the chrome, I'm using some of that color there too now. I'm blending in the color of the car as I'm going along. So you can see I'm starting to kind of work some different areas at once, which I like to do. It just makes sense to do it that way to me. So now you have something that looks a little bit, let's see if I can, where's my camera? Here we go. I'm trying to get it where you can see it. There it is. So you see how that, that really starts to look chrome now. Zoom back out, back to the overall. Starting to look like a car now. So all this down here needs to be, this is reflecting the ground. We've got some reflections going to go on back here. So let's see. Yeah, this actually goes all the way underneath the car. And we've got tire treads, we've got the shadow. Let's get more into the, yeah, let's get into that a bit. So, underneath, that's going to go there. Oh, I know what I was going to do. I need the front. Forgot all about it. So the grill, this grill area down here, this is all body color. So this is how we're going to do this. I'm going to put white highlights on the top edges. I'm going to put dark highlights on the bottom edges, and then we're going to go through with the body color and blend them together. So we'll start with the light, which I got to sharpen this pencil again. And I always tap the pencils on the ground to get the first little breaky parts down. Anyway, little inside base. Ah, see, it breaks right away. And you get this little piece like that sitting there. So with the sun coming in this way, these are little grills, so you're going to see the highlight here and on the top edge of the top of the bottom edge. That's what there we go. I don't talk much. So we're going to get this going. I can always make them darker. It's hard to make them lighter. So I'm going to start, that's why I start with this and work my way to the darkness. We go that way. And then, of course, the inside part will be really dark. But anyway, so getting back to the Panther platform, since they were cop cars, there's a lot of them, and you know they made hundreds of thousands of these town cars too, for a long time, and now they've developed a kind of a unique following, which has been fun to see happen. So this will be the bottom of it. You'll see a shadow underneath. So yeah, they're popular, and there's a lot of aftermarket for them. So you can hot rod them up. You can do it if you like. The new Mustangs have a motor. It's called the Coyote motor, and it's I wouldn't say it's based on the same engine, but it fits. So the engine blocks are very similar, and you can actually bolt it into one of these cars, which is pretty awesome because those are 440 horsepower. I might do that with my Blacktown car one day, and it would be an incredible sleeper, meaning that no one would think it's as fast as it is, and yet there you go. So at this point, I'm going to come in with a real fine line black, because what I need to do in these little lines here is I need to really lay out where these are, because we're not going to be doing much blending with the gas here, so I don't worry about having that mess anything up. But I want to be able to get these really dark in the holes. And it's really the only places I use black is where it's really like a hole in something, you know, that's I want to disappear. We'll use some black in the edge, kind of faded out underneath too, that helps give it depth. But in this feature here, it's just a good. And I like, you know, when I draw these out and I lay them out as I'm going through, I really don't want them to be perfect. You know, I still want them to look like it's hand drawn, because it is. But there we go. See, now that has it looks very sharp, very good. These actually have to come across each other, because this has these little veins are actually behind. And that's what's going to make it look like the real car. So as you can see, whoops, not that, it's not where I wanted to go. We're going to go here. So you can see that these lines, this grill actually crosses itself here, like that. And we're going to put a little shadow, a hard shadow, at that part too. So right here is where you would see, let's see here. Go back to my other screen. So this is where I'm getting in here. We're going to go a little bit of a shadow down like that, because that's where you have a little shadow from the sun. That would be really dark in that area. And just that little bit of a triangle line right there I make. It makes all the difference in the world with making that look like now it has grills that are going back into space. It's got little veins, and you'll have across the bottom too. It's going to be fun to do the custom license plate too, because my brother-in-law Greg came up with that for Kathy, and I've got one sitting here that I can use as a reference, which is always nice to have a reference. Now we're also going to put a little corner of the bottom of them coming out, just like so. Yes, now that's really starting to look. Get this up higher so you can see it. See how that now has a much better flow to it? Yep, that's what we're doing. So I'm spending an inordinate in a lot of time. I can't say the words in front of this today. As long as I'm here and I got the black pencil, I'll make it. This is really sharp in here too. I want that. A nice sharp line between where the grill is and where the grill trim is on the outside, because you do have a little bit of a space. And then we're going to come out here. Each one of these is going to get its own just shading. Of course, the chrome in these little details is what makes these drawings really pop. It's kind of what I've specialized in for, I don't know how many hundreds of these I've done, but it never gets old. My problem is I never want to stop. I want to just keep going, which is okay. A little bit of the logo there. All right. Yeah, it's starting to look pretty good. So that kind of gives you an idea of what I do for the body, to get the body of it to look the way I want it to do. We'll zoom that right out. You know, it's really starting to look good now. I'm going to continue on here. I'm going to close out this live, but I hope you enjoyed it and watch more and more. If you want to see more of what I do, you can of course go to madkstudio.com. We're happy to be able to, I've got a lot of work on there. There's you can go coloring books. We've got original artwork, prints. I mean, anything from, you know, I've got stuff on there for under 20 bucks all the way up to many thousands if you want to buy more and more stuff, which would be great. I'm also doing more and more small paintings, and I'm trying to do some affordable artwork for anybody that just wants something that's original, small. Let me grab one. Yeah, stick with me a minute. Talk amongst yourselves while I grab some of what I've been doing lately. I'll grab from off to the side there. It's like, oh, who's this guy? What's he doing? But let me show you some of the newer stuff. So I'm pretty excited about these. This is just, you might have seen these on Facebook. You know, a good color in there. But these are, I call this one Twinsies, like, but spelled S-E-A-S. These are just small little paintings. They're 5x7, I think 5x7, and you know, a set of these right here, this will set you back about 125 bucks. These are original, signed. I'm not making prints of these ever. These are the only ones that are going to be available. So anyone interested in these, something like this, just give me a shout, a message me. We can talk. This was another one I did. You know, it's just another nice small. It was a nice color steady painting, and again, this is, you know, a $100 painting, 125 bucks, somewhere around there. And for someone that wants, you know, something easy to buy and afford and hang on their wall. I'm enjoying these because I use these as color studies, and this is just some of the different things that I like to do as I'm doing portraits and things with cars. Of course, I gotta do backgrounds and whatnot too, so I like to have kind of a whole file of different versions of artwork that I like, that I can use as backgrounds, backdrops. So again, that's pretty cool. If you want to know more about any of this stuff, you can go to my Facebook page. You can send a message down below. It's MaddK Studio, M-A-D-D-K Studio. That's also my my website, maddkstudio.com, maddkstudio.com. And you know, feel free to go there and check out the work. We've got a lot more going on there. I'm reorganizing the site kind of to make it a little bit easier to navigate, because I do, well, I do some tiki stuff too, and I do some car stuff, and to me it ties together perfectly, but it's really two completely different genres. But I like it, so there's a lot of it on there, and that's my website's for me, and eventually, hopefully, someone else likes it too. But with that, let me get over here, and we'll take a look at what we have, where we'll leave off with that. I appreciate you guys watching. It's been a great time. If you did like this, please send a like, subscribe, share. I'm trying to grow this channel. I've only got 100 and some subscribers, and boy, I'd like to have 1,000 and some in the next coming months. So with that, I'm going to bid you guys adieu, and I really appreciate your time. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.